All right, so let's get into our first topic of discussion: dragons.
Draconis is Anthony and I's favorite thing to flame junglers over not getting
Hit the
in
trick.
the early to
I don't
mid
care about
to
your
late game.
priorities.
No, fuck your Gromp, fuck your Raptors. Take the Drake at level 4, you coward, and don't pick a jungler that can't, or you will get flamed by one or both of us. You're welcome. So, what do you think?
I've mostly liked the changes, but not because of the passive buffs that the Drakes give you, but because of the souls and the maps and the Elder change. That's basically what I like about them. The passives to me, like, they feel weaker, and they should be because of the soul. But
Yeah.
I feel like they're so much more situational than they were before, and it makes it so like prioritizing Drakes might actually be disadvantageous for my comp in a way. But
yeah, there are some comps where I've been jungling a lot lately, and I will feel like, oh, like if the last two Drakes are infernal, then I really shouldn't be taking this early Drake. I should be waiting to get like 3 to 4 infernals because it would just be better. Like this comp would be really good with 4 clouds, but like you can't know, so like it's kind of. But there are definitely games where I'm like, oh, I feel like I wish I missed the first 2 Drakes just so I could have gotten like even more out of this. But I agree. I still like to just, but that's so much of a gamble. I feel like you still have to just
that's why I would never do it, because you're not only competing for the Drakes, you're competing for the soul, and like
plus
is Infernal Soul worth 2 Infernal Drakes? Like,
yeah, and plus if you drop the first 2, there's no guarantee you're just going to be able to like pick up the next 4, right?
Yeah, if you drop the first 2 Drakes, you're probably behind by a lot or got a bunch of really bad steals.
Yeah.
And I think the soul's very important for the way that these Drakes work, because if you remove the soul, it would probably be advantageous to give the other team whatever the first Drake is if it's not like good for your comp.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have anyone who works well with Cloud Drake, which I think most teams should have at least 1 or 2 champions that do. Earth Drake, definitely there's many comps that would not have anyone that works with that. Ocean Drake, I feel less impactful with Ocean Drake in general. Like I just never feel that it's happening. And then what's the last one? Infernal, Ocean, Cloud. Did I touch all of them?
You got all 4.
Okay. So it's.
I don't think you like explicitly mentioned Infernal, but it's just good to have extra AoE damage.
More. Well, yeah. There's never full tank comp. That's just idiotic. If you run a full tank comp, you've just
at least your ADC or mid laner is going to benefit. Probably your jungler.
You should have at minimum 2 champions that benefit from that every single game reliably. Otherwise, your comp's awful.
Yeah.
No damage. So I wish they were more impactful, but they can't be, and I get it. And if you took out the soul, you would have it so that it was. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but soul's important, and it has a lot of cool effects. I honestly, Cloud Soul, don't really care that much. Just the reason it's important.
I like it sometimes. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's some champions where I really feel the.
Yes, on a few champions it's good, but I feel like even less champions that's good on than others, because mobility is so ubiquitous in League of Legends. Having more move speed is often just like.
Plus, it's just like, as somebody who's been playing a lot of jungle, the ability to just move around the map faster than the enemy jungler is just really good, right? Like my ability to rotate more quickly with the Cloud Soul is just great.
Well, sure, but it doesn't really matter at that point. A lot of the time.
It doesn't matter for like ganks, but it matters for like I was top clearing the camps, and then there's a fight bot side, and then I can be there. Or oh no, they're doing, or like oh we have to like set up for this, or I just need to be in a different place. Like it just is helpful because like I feel like even as the jungler, unless I'm on like Sejuani, I'm not just like camping with the team mid to late game. I'm like still moving around the map a fair amount, trying to get vision, help the support secure vision of objectives, etc., etc. So it still feels impactful. Whereas like when I play AD carry, I don't give a shit about the movement speed because I'm usually just hitting the S key mid lane and waiting for the wave to come to me. So like I don't really need it. But like when you have to move around the map, it's great.
So I honestly think Mountain Drake is probably the weakest now. Like, I used to love Mountain Drake all the time because it just gave so much more objective control. But now it's about tank, and tanks are so bad in League of Legends, and having more resistances...
Currently, they suck ass.
Having more resistances doesn't really help. There's only one good tank, and it's Ornn. And sure, it's good on Ornn, but, like, you have to build resistances to use the resistance bonus. So it's like...
And I'm not really stacking armor on your marksman's not stacking armor. 80 characters are going to
get a GA and maybe what's it called?
Or a QSS. Yeah, QSS.
like that's it. Those are the only two items that have resistances that they build.
Your support's going to like it because your supports a lot of supports are going to be building.
Unless you have Soraka, Karma.
I mean, they get a little bit in there, right? But like not as much. But like your Thresh and Leonas are going to like it. But, like, Senna doesn't give a shit. Your mid laner probably isn't getting much outside of Zonia's, right? Or Banshee's, like,
and especially
doesn't
the Soul.
Matter.
The Soul is just a shield, and it definitely helps against poke comps, but it's not like I can spec towards it to counter a poke comp. I have to hope it happens.
Absolutely.
So it's like...
You just have to, like, win a fucking die roll, basically.
Whereas Infernal, I'm just like, yes, every time. I want
that. It's great. Everybody does. It's good for everyone to do. Even if you're on a tank, doing more damage is good. It just gives you an extra
damage instance. You just
and
get
it's not based
hit.
on. Is it? Yeah, and that's just good for everybody. Like, okay, like it's just good, right? Like everyone wants to do more damage. It doesn't hurt anyone to do more damage. It's just it's extremely useful. I do feel like I see Infernal a lot less than the other ones. I'm not kidding, right? Like I know it's probably random.
Oh, it's 100% random.
Yeah, but like I actually feel like if I play like 4 games, I feel like not 4 games. If I feel like I play 10 games, I feel like it's like 4 clouds, like 3 oceans, 2 mountains, and an infernal. Like I literally every fucking game I get cloud or ocean, which is fine.
I get that feeling too. Actually, I was just thinking that when you said, I'm like, I do kind of feel like I only get clouds and oceans, and I'm like, God damn it.
I know, right? Like when we play together, we only get clouds or oceans. Like we get infernals sometimes, and like I like feel like and then mountain feels like it's pretty up there. But like I feel like I actually get infernal way less. But it might just be like some stupid bias in my head because I'm an idiot or something. I don't know.
So what do you think about Ocean Soul? Like
I don't even know what it does off the top of my head.
It gives you
more health regen and mana
damage, basically. You're in
it
combat.
Gives you what?
If you're like dealing damage, every so often it'll give you a burst of healing. So Olaf's meta right now.
Oh, I know.
So Olaf and Ocean Soul are really good.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. He can just kind of plow at you and never die. You know the TFT Olafs you see with 2 rapid fire cannons and like
That's how I build Olaf. Anthony hates it. I'm out here with rapid fire cannons and a fucking Rabadon.
Thing at the moment in real League of Legends. Just
what RFC?
No, just Olaf carrying and running you down and destroying your entire team by himself.
I mean, honestly, outside of Olaf, it never feels all that impactful. I'm sure it's more impactful than
it's a percentage of your total, so it's more impactful on bruisers and tanks.
But again, it's something I don't notice because I don't like.
Yeah,
I'm paying attention to my health bar in a fight, but I'm not like.
You never notice if
like,
you get bursted, or
what?
You don't get noticed if you run into a fight and get bursted out, or if you.
But even if I don't get bursted out, like I don't notice like the small changes because a lot of the character champions I play will have ways of gaining life anyway, so it's never clearly to me just like. Or there's a 80 carry like throwing out heal or a redemption or something going on that I'm never like this bit of HP was from Ocean Soul.
It's hard to notice a lot of those effects if you're not 1v1ing.
That's true. I mean, like I find it really easy to notice Infernal because there's a different animation.
Yeah, there's a giant explosion in front of
you. And then I noticed the mountain too because I just noticed that I start a fight with a big ass shield, right?
We play Malphite and have 2 shields.
Whoa. Unlimited power. I don't give a shit. I don't play Malphite. I wish I did.
Apparently.
You did one time when they picked 5 ADs, but that's on them. Their ignorance. Anyway, but Ocean, I mean, I'll even notice, I guess like I notice Ocean and Cloud less. Just because...
I don't notice Cloud at all, but I notice it when I look at Lux's ultimate.
Yeah, well, I notice it on my cooldowns. I don't notice it on like my move speed as much. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
because I don't know, move speed doesn't feel impactful ever almost. Unless I'm
well,
at 0 and then go to 100, I don't feel any.
yeah, that's fair. I really like it on Kayn. I like going blue Kayn with the Cloud Soul, and then you just like Yumu's, Moby's,
I'd walk away
wall
if I could.
walk. What?
I'd walk away if I could.
Disgusting. And then you get your Mobies, your Yumu's going, your wall walk. Oh, you walk through the wall, you get the Cloud AoE, and you're going at 9 million miles an hour, and then you fucking pop an AD carry, and you're all like 30 seconds later, and it's balanced. It's a good game. That's fine, but most of the time I don't really notice it. What I notice way more are the actual map changes. They affect how I play the game way more than the soul typically does. Like, if I just had the dragons, any of the 4 dragon souls on your typical summoner's rift, your unaltered summoner's rift, I wouldn't change how I play the game at all.
No, I'm still prioritizing dragons. I'm still going for the soul, no matter what soul it is, almost.
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, I'm never like, I have an earth soul, I gotta come through this angle, I gotta go around here, I got the cloud, I gotta come through the back. I'm like, no, I just have the soul, we're gonna team fight like we were team fighting before. What really changes how I play are the changes in the alcoves, the new bushes, the move speed. It really changes where I want to fight, right? Like how I want my comp to be interacting, or where I want to be going, where your words need to go, where you want to be fighting comps for some comps, and also just like where I feel like I can walk as a jungler, because all of a sudden, if there's an Infernal Drake, there are way less walls in the jungle. So if I'm going to steal the enemy blue buff, all of a sudden there's not like a block in vision where the walls were. Like, they can just see me. It makes invades riskier. Where it's mountain, it makes invades way safer. I put a ward down, I hide behind an alcove, I can pop somebody if I'm on Echo or Elise or somebody. And though the map changes change how I play way more. I feel like I need to be quadrupling my warding on ocean maps, because every goddamn bush that blocks vision totally, I'm just like, well, this is like...
I feel like ocean map actually makes it easier to ward, because you don't have to make decisions about whether you put this ward in a bush or not. Like,
no, but there are so many more bushes that I feel like every time I'm walking through the jungle, I need to be warding every bush, because someone's just going to be waiting there, or there's somebody in the 2 new fucking bushes at Drake. So I feel like I need 2 wards on Drake, 1 in the back of the pit, 1 in the river, right? Like, it feels to me like I need way more vision. Whereas an Infernal, I just like plop it in the center of the buff pit and I call it a day.
I feel like it actually makes people have to ward in the places that they should have been warding already.
Yeah, probably.
Like there's the intersection behind blue buff and the intersection in front of blue buff where where you have to put wards in, and like just put them there now. It's really easy. Infernal makes it a lot easier to
get away with like easy ass warding.
Buff steals and kind of lazy warding, but at the same time, I'm still trying to figure out where exactly the good ward spots are on Infernal map, because it's like, sure, you can just put it in the buff and kind of watch that area, but it's hard to cover the whole thing.
It's hard to cover the whole thing, but what I've noticed is like once the buff walls fall, people just run through there instead of like if instead of going from like the behind wolves around blue to Gromp, they just go behind wolves through blue to Gromp because it's faster. Right, or like down, and so like when
this is also a problem with blue.
It is. Well, it's less of a problem with blue, but even in red, it's like, okay, like, are you walking to the blast cone? Well, now you're just going to walk right through the straight line that they gave you at the red pit instead of all the way around it, right? So I've noticed that people just tend to move through there way more because you're basically cutting down on the avenues. You're like, it's way faster, basically. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, but. So I noticed that those work fine. So I like the speed boost on Air Drake's maps, but
useless.
It's super useless, but I like it. I mean, I like it as a jungler because I'm like, cool, I can get from my Krugs to my Raptors a little faster, and then I can gank mid, right? But
compared to the other 3, it's just like, hey, you move faster, and I'm just like, but I can't go anywhere with this. I can just run around blue buff or red buff. That's it. That's all I got.
It's nice. It's nice if you're behind. I've noticed it's easier for me to get to the Drake to steal it if I like just spawn and I'm running.
It helps there, but it's not like a large distance. It only helps once you get to the
I'm not saying it's a huge help. It's like a small help, and it does make you go from Krugs to Raptors faster, from bot to mid a little faster. It's just like, it feels like it's just a buff to junglers, and it feels like it's just a buff to gank heavy junglers, so I can get from like one lane to the other a little quicker if I'm running, or like from my Krugs to mid a little bit quicker. It doesn't feel as impactful.
I had a mock-up of what I thought Cloud Drake should do before, and I said it should give you these little like speedways around the map in a circle, like all the way through, basically, where it would, yeah, it would just be a circle that you move faster in this area, and it would path you through the back of your base-ish area, all the way around through, I forget if it was Tribrush, like through the bottom side of Red Brush. I wish I prepared my little diagram I made, but it just seems like a better thing to make a little donut of wind so that you can rotate from objective to objective or tower to tower, and it makes sieging more interesting. It makes defending sieges more interesting if you can have that zone controlled. This just feels like so much less, like there's less interesting here. There's less difference.
It feels like I do agree with you. It's the least impactful in the way I play the game, right? Like
yeah, it doesn't change.
I'm even more cautious, like even on Ocean, which doesn't feel that big compared to new or fewer walls, right? Like Mountain feels like more impactful because it actually affects the chokes and how I'm fighting.
I feel so claustrophobic on Mountain.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel like I can get off like better invades because I can hide somewhere. I feel like I'm gonna get fucked if I'm walking the wrong way. Like you saw me get destroyed that one time by that assassin just standing in the little Krug. I just got like popped and I had no idea he was there, right? Whereas like on Ocean, like it doesn't feel like I'm like cut off. It's just like I need to be a little more conscious with vision, but even that feels like way more impactful than the move speed itself. But I actually quite like the map changes, though. It does. At first I hated it, but yeah.
I've gotten used to them a lot quicker than I really thought I would.
I didn't think it would take long to get used to. I thought it would have more of an impact on viable comp, right? Like I thought it would be way more
Ocean buffs Rengar, Infernal nerfs Rengar.
Yeah, kind of, right? Like but I did really think it would be like, well, you're gonna want like a super good like choke fight for Mountain, right? Or like a really good like jungle fighting comp for Mountain, because you're gonna have all these extra walls. But then I was like, but it ended up being so variable, you can't count on it, that it's just like kind of stupid to pick a comp around a specific Drake, because you're just
they're not gonna broadcast the Soul and Champs, like, which to be honest I don't think they should do, because I like having something to adapt to in the game. But if they don't do that, there's no way to plan around it. And if it's like it's an Earth Soul, everyone's gonna just kind of wait for the other team if they pick a tanky comp. It's just like I don't.
Oh, if they pick a tanky comp, it's like sick. I'll pick like Kai'Sa Vayne, right? Like it's like, oh, I'll pick like.
All right, so I don't think we really discussed this, but Elder Drake had a major change.
Yeah, the execute is crazy.
It used to just give you burn. But now it'll execute anyone below, I think, 20% health or 25% health. I'm not sure.
It's like around 20%, 25, but it's insane. Like, I used to be like, yeah, we'll get Elder Drake because it's up and it's good, better we have it. But now I'm like, no, we need to prio Elder Drake.
Like, if Elder Drake's up, fuck Baron. I'm going to just kill you if you
No, I'm going for the execute. I'm going for the execute because, like, you can buff these waves, but then I'm going to execute you in like a quarter of a second, especially if I'm playing an assassin or I have like a long range
massive AoE comp, DOT comp.
Oh my god, Davidson's been playing a lot of Xerath. Dude, plant his Xerath far away and then have Elder Drake and just like boom, execute, boom, execute, boom, execute, boom. Like in the team fight, you're like long range mages are cleaning shit up because people are getting destroyed. Your assassins are going crazy. Your AD carries that are critting for like 1k at that point in the game are actually just half HPing people.
Urgot loses his ultimate.
No, it's actually fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like it's totally, it feels so strong, and I am so much more inclined to fight over it than I'm like, I would literally trade Baron for Elder every time if I get Elder, because it feels like every time I get Elder, we team fight, we execute them because we have to do way less damage than they have to do, and then we win the game. Or we push super deep into their base because we can ace anyone. Right? Like, you just, bam, they're dead as fuck. It's crazy. Especially, by the way, if you have an Infernal, and you just AoE, boom, AoE, boom, AoE, boom, AoE, boom.
It'll sometimes chain the AoEs
Oh, it
that go
does.
across people. It's insane.
I've seen, like, Luden's procs execute 3 people at once. Like, they just pop.
I've seen Aphelios just kill 3 people by auto attack.
Was that today? Was that today
Yeah,
when I did? No, I didn't auto attack. I ulted. Anyway, what a balanced champion. We'll talk about that later.
He's later. That hell's later. So yeah, Drake's lots of changes, lots of more interesting changes. Drake's have become the like de facto objective of the game now, and to be honest, that's not a great thing. Do you want?
It is to ask you if you want to take us on home.
I think I will. I forgot to do this at the beginning of the podcast again, but I'll do it here anyways. The podcast is moving to its own dedicated channel. If you want to catch us there, it'll be linked down in the description. It's called Legendary Podcast. If you type in that full thing into the YouTube search, it pops up. Catch the VODs there. We go live on Twitch every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's it. Have a nice day.
Have a good night.